Unfortunately, I did it in the after hours. Yep, doing just fine. How'd this morning go for you? It was a, I don't know, felt like pretty straightforward morning. Didn't go very far, but still pretty straightforward. So like days like this, it's like it's not unlike the rest of everybody else. It's like I have to deal with the same market conditions as everybody. Can't you can't make it do what you want it to do. I was ready to rock and roll, man. I was like, let's get to these bottom targets. Good. Yep. Which is exactly what you should have. Yep. Resistance. I am curious because of my commentary this morning. Where roughly did you get in on the resistance? Always curious if people are actually listening intraday or if they're just nervous about their trading. Front of the second resistance. So up here, closer to the midpoint. Perfect. Great. Yep. I was in at 89.7 or 89 half is where I got in at. Three ticks out ahead. Bam. Yeah, it was perfectly good morning. Oh, I thought it was somebody walking. That's funny. Oh, okay. Lee, how you doing? You good? What are we having for dinner? Cereal? Hopefully. All right. So first and foremost, as always, let's please address any questions. And I know again, we've had a run of Mondays, but just the market itself just hasn't really done a lot on Mondays. So I get it. There's not always a whole lot to talk about. But if you do, let's start there as always. Let's make sure we're addressing things specific. So, and it can even be, well, it can be about today. It's fine. But it can also be concept. Nice. Walking through the jungle eating a cucumber. Nobody? Nothing? Okay. All right. Then in that case, what I wanted to do was, and again, today's not like the best day because it just went sideways for the most part. Let me scroll back and see if I can do the thing I wanted to do. See if this was any better. That's Friday. Yeah, we could use this. All right. So you ever played the game like blindfold or whatever? The idea here is sometimes to just take out some of the noise. So what I wanted to do was just remove the core. So let's see what happened. Have anybody ever tried this? Like just delete the core for a little bit, and you can always just turn it right back on. It's not a big deal. But I get it. Sometimes there can be so much on an individual screen that you just kind of lose sight of what's actually going on. But on occasion, I try to do this. Um, so yeah, we go over chasing entries. This would probably be a better one. Matter of fact, just looking at the day and how it played out, it's probably a better one to actually look back on because, again, today didn't do a lot. I'm going to blow it up bigger. We're just going to get rid of the NQ here for a little bit. All right. So, all right. So let's look at this one. We had talked about really what the market had accomplished in the Globex session here on the Friday. And then I'm going to try and post these when they're relevant. But I think, and you guys be the judge if this is actually helping you or not. But I think it's super important sometimes to understand like where is the market in the context of the scenarios that we're talking about. Because if I, just draw lines straight across from the top or the bottom where I just take the highlight, right? Like we didn't really go much past that range, and we certainly didn't go down below it, right? So if you're ever wondering, and again, I'm just removing the core here in this example to kind of give you some context of like the core is awesome. It really is because it helps people understand when it's building and it's getting stronger and getting stronger or it's getting weaker. As long as we haven't encountered any kind of targets or has to holds and so forth. But even like this one right here, if we extended it back just a couple candles, it's the same thing. So I kind of want to just show. Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier today, and this was an exercise that I did many years ago, where you just wipe out everything, just wipe the slate almost entirely clean. The only thing I've left up are the opening bars, 3 a.m., 9:30, 8:30, right? So that's just it. And even this is helpful. You can kind of see like there's nothing here, right? But it went right to the top of the 9:30 and bounced. It struggles right here initially, the 3 a.m. and so forth. But again, I was curious if anyone's ever tried that. But yeah, chasing entries. So, and kind of use it in context with respect to this this bigger shaded area that I made for you guys on Friday. Because again, it's a question of buy low, sell high all the time, right? So again, when this is relevant, it's important to know where is low and where is high, right? And so as this thing is dropping and rising and so forth and so on, we're trying to move away from like the panic side of things and look at more of the bigger picture side of things. Because again, we're not scalping for a few ticks. We're trying to go for, in some cases, as much as 15, 20, 30 points. That's the ultimate. That's what you're trying to work toward, right? If you've only got the one contract, you have one option. The idea there, of course, is to eventually build to where you have two contracts and you can go a little further. And then you never go backwards, right? Like you never go down to one contract again. You can use one contract as an add in, but it's because you're already in the move. You're already going in the direction. Maybe you already paired out a couple times and you just want to bring your risk parameters down. That's fine. But like you're trying to graduate, right? Move from one contract to two contracts, two to three, three to five. Like you can just skip one here and there if you want. Um, but that's really what we're up to. So with chasing entries, it's always the case when you have clearly missed the bottom or you've clearly missed the top. Okay. Kind of like today. We had two scenarios that were both valid. So the question was, is the market going to go up first or is it going to go down first? Right? It doesn't matter, not to us at least, because we're not holding overnight swing trades and you don't really care. The question becomes, where are those decision points? So if you took Friday as an example, as we're starting off our day, okay, this is at 8:50. So it basically bottomed out, and I had it on Chartcast. So if you had your Chartcast going, you saw it. Great. There was a big picture has to hold. Like there's nothing more that needs to be said, right? If you're awake and you're trading and you see that, and it's your first entry of the day, you don't have any other options because you're beyond any decision point. Um, it's already in its move. Here you are. All right, great. So you could have bought down here. Now, let's assume that you weren't awake, you didn't have Chartcast running, and you didn't see it. All right, so let's move on to 9:30. So here we go. Here's 9:30, 9:35. Okay, you get the first 5 minutes, and we've got targets here and here and up here, right? Okay. So what is a chasing entry? What does it look like? Chasing entry is basically anything. It's anything at all that's past what was the best possible entry. And those can be, again, really only three things. They can be support, resistance, or has to hold. Unless we're in a separate move and the hurdle also can come into play. Because the hurdle, again, I'm using this as an example this morning. Had we gone up first, then the hurdle, of course, would have been an option if you were closer, etc. But does that make sense, Shush, so far?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate
Yep.
that, sir.
Yep. No worries. No worries. So chasing also means, secondarily, that you are going to have to move up your risk tolerance. You have to. Because, and I say it when it's appropriate, but the market still has, in a lot of cases, the ability to go back. Like, again, look at this giant bar here, right? We are in the danger zone of this move. So even though it got to this target and even this target, the market can, if it so chooses, come all the way back here. And on that particular day, it could have gone even just a couple points further and tested for the downside decision point, which obviously it did not. But you see what I'm saying? Is that if we get something, again, resistance, support, has to hold, sometimes a hurdle, depending upon where we're at in the move. And you know this because we've laid it out. Then just be aware that, yes, we've gone up. It's 9:35. Everybody who wasn't awake, who didn't have Chartcast running, who didn't get in down here, if you attempt to try to go long at this point at all, then it's all chasing, all of it. And I think it was Mark maybe on Friday. Could have been the day before, but he had mentioned something about seeing this, decision point pop up, and he immediately started buying, like literally right up against it. To which we hopefully corrected, and he's not going to do that ever again. But you wait for the decision point to actually make the decision, right? So here, so to your point, Shush, this is also still a chasing entry, but it's one with a bit more of a guarantee in mind, because as it dropped back down, we know the decision point is a fantastic place to still get in. You still take profit at the same targets, like they don't change. Nothing ever changes with that. And you're shooting for obviously this one and this one and this one and this one, etc. And you're not hurt. Like nothing here hurt anybody if you got in at the decision point. You took it up. You took profit right there according to the the rules of the market. And then as it dropped back down, it just stopped you out. It is what it is. Again, you can kind of gauge your own risk tolerance and what you need to make. For all I know, you could have made your entire day from this, right? If you had gone from 88, take profit of 95, okay, well, there's already, 7 points. Maybe you only need 8, and you're like, man, I'm out. If it gets anything above this, I'm done. Like, I don't really know what all you require out of the market day to day. But if you meet your goal and get out and do something else. I know Diaz is like phenomenal at this. He has a set thing in mind. He makes it. He pieces out. Or he's got that one contract still running, and he just leaves it. And he's like, it doesn't matter because again, him sitting in front of the computer is not going to change it. But he's got it like again, the scenario is like he got in down here where he knew he should have, and he took profit, and he's like, cool, I'm gone. Moves his stop up to a little bit above, so he doesn't actually technically lose money on the trade. And then on this dip, like right here, it takes him out, and it doesn't matter. Instead of like hanging on to it for too long and realizing like, oh, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's fine. You made your money. It's okay, and you get that actually gets a lot easier. Sounds weird, but it gets easier when you start really ramping up your number of contracts because when you've gotten good at recognizing that we are laying out really, pretty precise entries, resistance levels, support levels, and so forth, and you get comfortable and start doing that, you know, certainly 80% of the time, and you've got, maybe you were trading with 2 contracts before, but now you can trade 10. Well, hell, like you've made your money after here and here. Like, who cares what happens to the last 2 contracts? You don't care. Like, you've done well. So that's kind of what we're aiming for. But I wanted to, like delete the core for a minute, just so people kind of got. Again, I recommend you do it yourself. Like every once in a while, if things are just too crowded, just turn the core off for a little bit and just recognize, like, oh, okay, is the market really reacting and getting to these places that we're talking about? So I hope that helps you shush with chasing entries. It's anything past what we know was the best option. Like even here, right? Later in the afternoon, 2:30 or so, resistance came in, had this huge drop. There's resistance, right? Didn't get there. So you would have had to have front run that by quite a lot. Like that's not how we do it. But as it came back up here later in the Globex session, well, where did it go to before it dropped again? Resistance. And it still dropped. It just wasn't the ultimate drop, right? Like it still ran back up. So it doesn't really matter. Fact of the matter is we had it, we posted it, we knew that like this was going to be a resistance level. So it's got to either push through it or just pull back from it.
Okay. I have a follow-up question on that.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's say you achieve the 3 targets. So we are rubber band and the cycle concept kicks in, goes from rubber band to target 2 and then target 1 and goes back up again. I know the market can
Okay.
go to the decision point. Would that be part of the cycle if it goes to the decision point, or you expect the rotation just to be on those targets?
So make sure I got your question right. So in a scenario where you've gone all the way to rubber band, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're it's bouncing back the other direction is what you're asking.
Yeah, from rubber band to target 2, target 1, then
Okay.
goes up again.
Okay. Okay.
If it comes back to decision point, would that be part of the cycle, or it's just the 3 targets rotation?
Yeah, it is still part of the cycle. So
Okay.
yeah, the decision point. So like here, for instance, this was a decision point here at 88 quarter
Mhm.
to achieve these series of targets, these smaller ones.
Yeah.
Okay. And it still even came up short by a point or so. Yeah, about 2 points. So it too even came up short by 2 points. Okay.
Okay.
But let's assume to your question that we did get a push, up, and then it came down, then it went to target 2, and then it kind of did like a halfway point, then it went to rubber band.
Mhm.
Okay. That's kind of market reaction, right? Like that's kind of how it works. And then as it comes back down, all of these are available all the way back to the resistance. Or sorry, the decision point. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is all, and the reason The reason is because it's all part of the same story. It's all part of that same cycle, as you put it.
Okay.
So until they break this thing down here, back at 88.25, they can just run it back up again.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
It's less likely. I mean, I'm not like trying to like put odds on this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
It is less likely that they will take it back to the rubber band after having gone and done all this. And again, just look back, right? You can see this for yourself. If you go back to all the posts that we do every day and watch the ones that actually do make it to the rubber band and they do retest the two previous targets and they do make it back to back to the decision point, and just, you can either physically notate it, mentally notate it. It's up to you. But you will find that most of the time, like the vast majority of the time, best they can usually squeeze out is either target one or target two. Why is that? Well, because the scenario itself is also, again, it's all based on price, right?
Mm-hmm.
Forget the markings on the chart. It's all price. It's all price relevant. So if they were going to do it, like if they actually had the buyers, if they really were there to run that thing up, they would have blown past the rubber band first time.
Okay.
So what it's kind of showing you within the context of the market is that we just don't have enough in the system right now to get any further. Same is true, obviously, when you're selling. There's not enough sellers, then the buyers are taking over, etc. So if you think about it in the context of price, they just couldn't manage to get enough additional buyers in to take it beyond that price.
Okay. All right.
So what they usually do, even if they ultimately intend on doing it, here's typically how it plays out, is that if it hits rubber band, goes all the way back to the decision point, and again, using this whole theory in mind of kind of where we're at, like this is still big picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what they usually do is they run it down much further into that bigger picture zone.
Oh.
And so all we're waiting for at that point, because again, you can't just flip flop, right? Like that's impossible, at least to do it accurately and consistently. So if you were going to go short, your option was up here. And you knew it. You knew you were going to counter trend trade it. You knew that it was not necessarily the forward direction of the market, right? But at every rubber band, like what are these really telling us? Every single scenario that's there is telling you this is potentially as far as we're going to go. Okay.
Mm.
This is potentially as far as we're going to make it. Every time they give us targets like this, just like this particular morning, as it's, running down from, whatever, 3 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, they give you these targets to say, this is potentially as far as we're going to take it down. So then what do you do with that? How do you know? Do you counter trend trade, each target? Not a good idea. Did it give you some other information? Yes, it did. So you got some confluency here, and we talk a lot about confluency.
Yeah.
So not only is the market telling us this is potentially as far as we're going to make it on this run, but it also happens to line up with a bigger picture has to hold. And we covered this, I think, a little bit intraday on Friday, because we had some time.
Yeah.
But having these targets so close together and right around the has to hold again, using that same theory in mind, is that this is potentially as far as we're going to make it. They could literally pick any one of these three as the stopping point. So herein lies the don't get, uh, don't get so attached to like this tick or that tick, or I'm upside down a point versus upside down a point and a half. Like, oh my gosh, who cares? The bigger picture here is, are we going to even get to the rubber band, and are we going to push through it? And then you got to figure out your own risk tolerance when it comes to stuff like this. Because they did give us an option, like they gave you the chance to get back in. And they're like right here at 920. It's very kind of them.
Okay.
But yes, every scenario is also the market telling us not only where we're going, not only the level, like the price at which I have to push through in order to get to the next price. Not only are we potentially getting into what would, that's how the best way to view the rubber band is, it's the extended, the most extended, in fact, it's the most extended push of that scenario. But they also tell us this may be it. This may be as far as we take it. So then it's a matter of where's the other, where are the other pieces to this puzzle, right? What's surrounding us? Yeah, is there a resistance level? Is there a support? Is there a minor has to hold? We've had that several times. I mean, more than I can count. It hits a rubber band, only comes to like target two, goes back to rubber band, goes back to target two, goes back to rubber band, messes around a whole bunch, and then it gives like a minor has to hold, like right, just ticks, maybe a point at most, just slightly above rubber band. That's probably going to be a really awesome entry, because they've shown you that in the last scenario, right? We checked all the boxes, which is great, but there just didn't seem to be a lot of energy or effort or willingness to go any higher. Like the market just didn't want to go any higher.
Okay.
So and then when they throw in, like, again, you had two options really. You either, you were already long in a situation like this. You were already long because you had a has to hold below us. You already long trying to catch all that. So you're not flip flopping, right? Like that's not going to help you at all. You're just staying the course because you got in at the best possible price. So try to run that thing, man. Run it for as much as you can. And we've already got the targets. So it's not like you're guessing. You don't have to guess at where they may potentially stop the run. You know where they might stop the run. Just hold on to it. Get there best you can, right? And again, same thing is true if you've met your goal, then fine. Like there's no nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But then again, if they make it all the way here and they just cannot push through rubber band like this, and then they throw a little has to hold somewhere, maybe slightly below, right at, slightly above, it doesn't matter. But they throw something in there right there. You're like, dang, okay. But what are you targeting? Well, still the same thing. Still the same two previous targets and possibly the decision point. So still 1, 2, 3. Unless they give additional targets, which if they gave a minor has to hold, they would give additional targets as a result of the has to hold. But you get the point. Like you're still trying to short the sucker because you maybe you ran out of contracts here at target two. I'm out. Okay. Now can you counter trend? Yeah. Why? Because you're freed up. Your account is been, zeroed out. You're out of contracts. If you watch what's going on, maybe you don't do it immediately, but then does exactly the thing we said, bounce around, bounce around, bounce around, then throws in a minor has to hold. Oh, yeah, I can try that. Cool. I'm not in a position anyway. I've already made a pretty good chunk of change.
Oh, okay.
Does this help? I mean, obviously, we want to
Well,
make everybody
perfectly,
better traders.
perfectly.
How do you
If
feel like
can I
you're?
ask
How do you
some
feel like
more?
you're doing with engaging with the market at these like really key decision points we're posting?
Yeah, in the heat of things, sometimes I have this little bit of, the other day I said that for the first time I was able to enter a trade without panicking, and that's
Yep.
what I'm trying to get over. Sometimes the nerves come in and I hesitate with my entries a little bit, but I'm getting there as I do it each and every day. I'm getting comfortable now a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I forget I think the book title was "Be the Best Loser." You know, if you've got guidance, which I hope that you see it as really good guidance. If you got guidance that's getting you as close to these decision points as the market is generating, and you're reacting with them, then you just have to be able to be cool with the ones that just don't work out.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, it didn't work. Happened once, maybe even twice to me today. So I caught the first rundown. It came up to I think a minor has to hold. I hit it again, tried to add in some contracts. Ended up not winning that one. I'm like, well, all right.
Yeah, I have another one question for you. I think this morning I saw it had to hold, has to hold.
I can go back over here. Yep. There you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
without targets. So I was wondering, I mean, what do you do?
Yeah. So this was in association. So we talk about this when the market moves in your direction and it starts overcoming certain points, like the decision point here at 71 half.
No, I think it
Okay.
was before around 8 o'clock. I saw they had to hold, but there was no targets. So I was
Oh,
wondering
I
if you
see. Yeah,
enter, where do you go?
yeah, yeah. So that was I think it was, I posted it.
On
I
8
forget
o'clock,
exactly what
maybe 8
time, but
o'clock.
yes, I remember posting it. So it was in respect to the fall that was happening. I can't remember if it was the first one or the second one, but I wasn't in the room yet. We were just putting it on Chartcast. I just wanted people to understand that if this continues to fall, then there was a has to hold. I want to say it was 78 half, in fact. I never got there. So again, it's not a big deal because
Oh,
it never
okay.
made it that far. And the market opened and yeah, it same deal. Like it was still good up to the point of the opening of the market, but it's the same thing we were just discussing. If it had gone down first, then yes, I would have hit it long because there was a has to hold sitting somewhere right like 78 half, I think.
Yeah, but then
But
there
if
was no target. So where do you go? Where that's
yeah, these targets these are already listed. These weren't. The
no,
longer
these
ones were
were
not
not,
there yet.
because I think you deleted it this later in the day when the market opened. They had to hold, but then it didn't have targets.
So the has to hold. Okay, I'm going to draw back on there so that we're all talking about the same thing. So the has to
Okay.
hold was here at 78 half. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. We had resistance listed at that point. At least this one.
Um. mm,
Maybe the higher one. I forget. One of them. Well, I know we had the hurdle because that was posted way back
Yes.
here at 6:45
Yes.
in the morning. So
Yes.
you only have one option. As it's coming here,
Hmm.
it has to hold. So you'd be buying. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not trying to chase. Like I've already clearly missed it. Like if I'm just tuning in, it's 9 o'clock or 9:05, and we're a
Hmm.
matter of 3 4 points away from a has to hold.
Hmm.
You missed any potential sell. You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. You missed it. I missed it. We all missed it. That's okay. But if it comes down here first, had this candle not, obviously turned and gone the direction, had it come down, you just be
Hmm.
buying. So your question is to where? To where? What am I aiming
That's
for?
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it had come down first, you're aiming for the same hurdle that they've been struggling with all morning.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It wasn't until Yeah, you're right. It wasn't until after I see my notes. It wasn't until after they, started the reverse and took it up. Like, oh, okay, well, clearly we're not going down. Not at this moment. So instead of trying to buy, we're
Hmm.
going to sell up here at the resistance. And yeah, that was it. And then the reason I deleted it was because it was from the pre-market. And
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
want people being confused as we're heading down through the resistance. I didn't want people inadvertently trying to, because you got people that are in the room that, I mean, you lay this stuff out, but they still didn't short here. No matter what you told them, they still didn't put a short in here. Okay. But as it came down here, I didn't want people like seeing a has to hold and being like, ooh, maybe I'll buy. Like, no, that was only for this morning. And they clearly chose not to go there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted people to focus on the targets.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
let's get to the targets, man. All right. Anybody else? Yeah, today's not obviously the most stellar of days to analyze. Didn't really do a lot. Even the decision point that was coming in later, they really couldn't get above it. That was pretty weak.
Okay, I have another one.
Mhm.
I think when you have a tiered entry, let's say you have 12 contracts, 552. Are you
Mhm.
hoping that all of them go in, or you just want maybe a couple of them to go in?
I'd love all of them to go in. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this morning, the prime example, I had them
Yeah.
tiered in everywhere. It averaged out at what it averaged out 89 something, 89 and a half in a quarter. But I had them tiered in. I was buying everywhere in this zone
Okay. Okay. Okay.
because again, like it gave the information it gave. I personally, and I know what I said in the room, right? Like you may want to shoot more towards the top end because it wasn't a specific number. They weren't
Yes.
really generating like a dead on like to this tick number. It really was a range. And it's kind of evident even from this 925 candle. You can see it. This 925 candle picked up, I think, a few contracts initially for me anyway.
Okay.
And then this one picked up the rest.
Yeah. Okay.
No, yeah, I mean, personally, when I tier in, I want all of them because I do it like this. I think about it in the context of let's say I'm going to put in 10 contracts and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
pick a number, a spot. Okay. Well, if
Mm-hmm.
it's 10 contracts at one specific price, let's say I'm willing to give it based on the scenario, I'm willing to give it a 5 point stop. Okay. Well, then really, what is the, like, again, I'm thinking about the loss, right? Like, how much is it going to cost me to lose that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what if I broke it up into, say, 442? Okay. Because, and I'm only doing it in scenarios like these, I'm not doing it all the time. I'm doing it in scenarios like these when I do the same stuff for you guys and say, hey, guys, it's a bit of a range. Okay. It's about a 2 point range, 3 point range, point and a half range. Okay. You can guarantee yourself that's exactly what I'm doing at that moment. I'm going to probably break up my my entry from a single entry to a multiple entry. Okay. Because what's the difference if I lose 4 contracts at 5 points, 4 more contracts at 5 points, and 2 more contracts at 5 points? There's no additional loss, right? Like it's the same loss.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty of it is that if you got in with 4 contracts, let's say you took the riskier one. So that's going to be your 2 contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going in at the riskier end of the deal. Okay, fine. So I got 2 contracts here. If it goes 5 against me, obviously those 2 are out. The slightly less, the more nominal entry is 4 contracts. but it doesn't go, but 3.5 points beyond that one. It'll take out the two, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll keep this four running and this four running.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And again, I'm just telling you what I do. You can kind of adopt your own thing when it comes to that. But
Yeah.
when it gives me a range, I do. It was just one of the ways I was trying to like figure out, like, because I got really frustrated basically, is that I would put all 10 contracts in at a price. And then when the market gave us a range like this, you're kind of just hoping that it stops at the bottom end of the range or it makes it to the top end of the range. Like you obviously want to get in. And
Yeah.
so my mentality usually is that, like, I don't give a shit. I'm getting in. So I usually take the riskier entry anyway. Okay.
Okay.
Which
Okay.
sometimes it serves me well. Sometimes it doesn't, because you took the riskier entry of a ranged scenario. So anyhow,
Yeah.
after probably way too many years of having too many things like go that just I mean, it would just go that one last tick, and it would take out all my contracts. And then that was it. Like that was literally the absolute top. And then it would tank or vice versa, right? It'd go all the way down and like hit me by the tick and then it would go up.
Mm.
And again, I kind of realized like it was always happening when it was these range type scenarios where, like, I tell you guys, like, the levels here, but please remember, POC is only a point and a half lower, or expected low is only a point and a half lower, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So again, you got to give it some wiggle room. So that was my personal solution to the problem. And so then I don't feel so bad that if I got in with two here and those two got taken out, but I still had 8 running, and they all 8 ended up making it, to the appropriate targets. I didn't feel as bad. Is really kind of how it translates.
Okay.
I was
Awesome.
still
Thank
okay
you.
with it. I was like, well, I didn't like losing the 2 contracts, but you know, I'll just chalk that up to the cost of doing business.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
again kind of in that pursuit of not trying to be perfect.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, of course. Anybody else? Joe, Mike, Lee, anybody? What do you got? Again, we can talk about previous days or things you're struggling with.
Hey, George, I'm just hanging out in the background. I am listening, so, but I don't have any
Okay.
questions for you.
All right, cool.
Well, one thing is, do you ever like do the bracket where um, if it breaks here, it'll go up. If it breaks here, it'll go down in that narrow range. Like you have that resistance right there, where the line is at the very top there, and you have another line there. But is there ever a scenario where if it breaks above that line, you know it's going to go north. If it breaks below that, you know it's going to go south, and you've got a bracket set up on either side. You ever do something like that?
Well, we do them in context to these. These are the big ones. Like I don't want to put so much stuff on the screen that people just don't trade, right? That's not usually helpful.
Right.
These are the big ones. These are the ones I label. Like if it breaks here, like again, you look at that arrow. If it breaks here, then they're at least trying to test the next thing, which the next thing was the hurdle. And that's the last thing holding this up. Otherwise, if you can make it through the decision point to your exact question, if you can make it through here and make it through here, then you're gonna get to these guys. That's just gonna happen.
All right. That
Yeah,
was
I
just
like I
following up.
like I like I like labeling those. Like, and here's probably mostly why I don't. It kind of goes back to, again, many years ago of me just learning not to chase and try to flip flop my trading. I remember, back to like, I don't know, 2012 or something. I was a very big fan of the reverse button. at that time, and it never really worked. Um, because even when the market breaks, I learned after way too many failed attempts that far too often it comes back to retest anyway. It's like, why am I panicking? Like, yeah, it broke. It gave us the official, like, go ahead. Here's the green flag. But it always came back. I'm like, well, why don't I just let it go then? Go to whatever level you want to go to. I don't care. I'll have my buy sitting back down here at the point that you broke that was the major decision point. So, yes. So, to your point, I'm aware that had it broken 90 quarter, that again, assuming we had the momentum this morning, right? That yes, it could have gone up. I think we were all the way to like 800 was actually what it was kind of targeting. So I'm aware of it, but I don't want people getting into this habit of trying to chase the break because they don't work.
Thank you. I follow what you're talking about as far as putting out too much information on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, which is kind of why I wanted to like just delete the core here for a little bit and just get people to recognize that you can do this like intraday. Just delete the core just for a minute. Look at things, kind of take a picture in your mind if you need to. Just like, okay, this is really what I'm focused on. And every time the core gets pushed through and you push through a midpoint and you push through a hot zone and you push through POC, these are all just good things, right? These are all just good signs that we are clearly going in the right direction.
Yeah, speaking of the core, I was kind of I deleted a number of the lines off of the core, and I just had it to the we call it the shadowed out areas, which is the expected or the high mid one and the expected high, and the low mid one and expected low. And I never noticed that at the buy zone and the sell zones, they pretty much react all the time. And I remember
Mhm.
Randy was saying that these areas hit like 70% of the time.
Yeah.
But I never really didn't notice it until I deleted all those other lines off above and below these two shaded areas here. That yeah, the market really reacts to the sell zone area and then a buy zone area. And then I was
Yep.
kind of noticing that sometimes they'll just break out of that and keep going south, or break out of the top and keep going north. And that was my question, orientation for my question just now.
Yeah. When they push through expected low or expected high on from the open, from the 9:30 open,
Yes.
when they push through, hell, they sometimes even do it before the 9:30 open. If they're already outside of the expected low or expected high before we even open that day, like, for the love of God, don't try to counter trend trade it. Okay, that's a lesson you should learn quickly. But yeah, when they do push through it, just kind of in a normal pattern, again before the 10:30 changeover happens, then it's the same thing. Like, don't try to counter trend it. Like, you're fighting something that you shouldn't be fighting. Either you're already in the right direction because we had something that was, already maybe a previous rubber band that got pushed through in the pre-market, and it had just recently come back and retested the rubber band. Like, how many times have we seen that, right? Comes back, retests the rubber band. Like,
Yes.
there's your entry, man, right there. Not only are we outside of the current core, we've come back. We've blown through a rubber band. We've now come back to retest the rubber band, and it's 925. Like, you don't need anybody to tell you anything. Like, just get the F in, get in. Clearly, things are moving in that direction quickly.
Okay, George, I see that you have the position trend um, during the trading,
Mhm.
but then does it
Yep.
play any role? I mean,
They wanted that for the blue and red indication that they give.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering if it plays in the role because we haven't made reference to it in any way. So,
That's yeah. I mean, Bob would probably coach you more on that than I would. But that's going to have a lot more relevance to trading the BWT auto trader.
and I
Yeah,
think, Joe, I have a question for you then regarding the auto trader. Are you able to filter a trade so that, let's say, it goes long after maybe POC? I mean, it goes above the POC. Can you filter a trade like that? Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
alrighty. If nothing else, we can end it for the evening. I'll turn these back on. Which one? There it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There you go.